Hello, friends. I can't find my commercials right now because Jimmy's not here to run my show for me. And we're on at a weird time. Yes, it's super weird that we're live today. But when we have a really cool company like this one, we move things around to make this work. You guys have been hearing a lot about NDL Industries lately from me. We signed up for a mini partnership for a few months during the AHR Expo during event season. You guys have seen some cool videos. I actually just got my life saved yesterday by one of their fittings. So I wanted to have them on to talk about not only their product, but their company, because this is one of those companies that you guys all know how I do my partnerships. I don't enter into a partnership with a company I don't trust. And if it's a company I don't know, I've got to do a ton of research to make sure that it aligns well with the coalition itself, right? So what I did was went in, I researched, and I pulled up everything I could find on NDL Industries, and their journey as a company is really interesting compared to most companies we know, but also they've been here a very, very long time. So I will tell you guys the story in a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and bring Amit on so that we can talk about this. Let's see what we can get into about NDL Industries today. And you guys, if you comment and I don't see it, I'm super sorry. I'm on 7 different screens right now. So hello, Amit. Welcome to the show. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me on, and I apologize that it's an off time for you because I know you do these usually on Saturday night, but I appreciate you accommodating.
Of course. You guys would do the same for me for sure. And I owe you my life after yesterday too. So, you guys, for those of you who don't know, NDL is a company of many things, but they make fittings. And one of the types of fittings they make is black iron. I had a leaky joint yesterday on a brand new install that has taken absolutely forever, thanks to the Maine weather. And I had a leak and I couldn't figure out where it was coming from or why. I got my bubbles on there. My joint was actually leaking out the threads. So I thought it was a me problem, right? Not enough dope. I didn't turn it, tight enough. I got it unthreaded, looked at it, and I was missing 4 rows of threads on the inside of my Black Iron 90. So luckily, Lucas Petty, who works at NDL with Amit, had sent me a box of fittings, and I had one 3/4 left. So saved my absolute life with the gas company on site. Thank you, Amit, for that all day long.
I'll give all that to Lucas. That was all Lucas.
True.
I'll give him a shout out when he get on.
Lucas is also, I just have to say right out the gate, Lucas is on it when it comes to merch. Those little NDL USB tags you guys gave away at AHR specifically work so well. And I probably have 20 of those things. But literally, I plug it into my phone, and in 2 minutes, my phone's charged. No cords, no nothing.
That's awesome.
They're awesome. And then I wear he sent me a fleece and a backpack. That's what I brought to AHR for like my uniform, essentially. So he's on it. Keep letting Lucas choose the merch.
Yeah, he's great. He's done a lot for that kind of stuff. And I think it's just ever evolving with him. He's always looking for the next cool thing.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got so far to go in this industry. I just can't wait to see his career, especially too. If you guys don't follow Amit or Lucas Petty, go and follow them. Type in NDL on LinkedIn and they'll pop up. All right, so let's get started first. Let's get it out of the way. Amit, you specifically, like you yourself, we're going to talk about the company a whole lot, but you yourself, how did you get here? Where did you start out in the industry? And I mean, I know that the company itself has taken turn after turn. So what about you? How did you get to where you're at today?
So kind of in an interesting way, I started from basically the opposite coast as you. Like you're as far east as you can go. You're in Maine, you said, right?
Yeah.
So you're as far east as you can go. I'm from the Pacific Northwest, from Vancouver, Canada originally. And I think like a lot of people in the HVAC industry, I kind of got sucked into the industry from some family ties. So after college, I went to do my refrigeration training school and got a job at a distributor in Canada. And I worked at that distributor, started as inside sales, then went outside to business development, specifically on the refrigeration division, some HVAC stuff as well, but a lot of refrigeration stuff. And then worked there for a couple of years in Toronto, actually in Canada.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that was my first time ever moving away from home because I was, from Vancouver. So took the job, moved out east. Cool city, huge city compared to Vancouver. Vancouver is a little bit more laid back. Toronto is very New York vibe, very
Busy.
hustle. Yeah, busy. But it was cool, you know, I really enjoyed it. I met some really, really cool people, connections that I still have in the industry till this day. Some of my best friends, you know, I met there. And there was a sales manager position available at NDL. Oh gosh, what was it? Just under 6 years ago now, maybe.
Wow.
I applied and kind of the rest is history and just kind of evolved throughout NDL as we grew, new opportunities came up, and now I'm in the spot that I am at. And yeah, I couldn't be happier. It's kind of been a long road, but a really fun one.
Under 6 years. And what is your title today?
So I'm the VP of sales right now at NDL.
In 6 years. It's insane.
Yeah.
That's hard work. That's hard
Yeah.
work. Amazing.
It's a
I
great
love
company.
that.
Yeah, appreciate it for sure.
So was it a situation where you were using like NDL's products or involved with NDL in your current position when you went to work for them?
Yeah. So the distributor that I worked at, you know, NDL was the primary supplier. So I was selling NDL product. I was very familiar with it. I was selling a lot of products, right? Refrigeration and HVAC.
Right.
But yeah, like it was a very natural, smooth transition. Obviously, I was kind of drinking from the fire hose when I came on board. It was different because when I was on the distribution side, I was working with the contractors directly. And then coming on to the manufacturing side, you're dealing with the distributors. So it's very different. I had to get a lot of those, build those relationships that I didn't have. And that took a really long time. But yeah, very welcoming industry, very small, tight knit industry. And everybody kind of knows everybody. So it's very cool.
I love it. I love it. I love this industry. But I will say it's one of those things we talk about a lot, whereas there are so many different channels into and of the industry itself. It's just like I am in the same industry as you're in, but I am a contractor, I'm a trainer, and you are in the same industry I'm in, but you're like providing what I'm using to make that job work. It's a vast industry, but one with a community that is unmatched. Like at the time, I think I was 30 when I jumped into the industry all by myself, and never did I think that like the one place I would ever fit in would be in like HVAC and refrigeration. So weird, but yeah. I love it.
It's good. But, when you tell people you're in the HVAC industry or refrigeration industry, it's kind of like a foreign concept. A lot of them are like, what do you mean by that? Like, what is that? It's just kind of, look, it's a very good industry when there's recessions and issues in the market. There's always work. So very fortunate for sure.
It's crazy you said that. I'm writing an article for our Gazette, and it's about kind of just what's been going on in the world lately. How, if there were to be theoretically a cataclysmic event that, wasn't total destruction, it was just, maybe a massive recession or like another Great Depression, right? What kinds of ways can we survive at the company level, at the technician level, and at the owner level? And some of the things that I had come out with in my research was your industry itself is essentially recession proof. We can have our own recessions as an industry because people don't have money, or it's, holiday seasons. We go through this. But our industry itself is essentially recession proof. We will always have work.
Yeah.
It's
good,
incredible.
Right?
Yeah. And it's all of us. It's all the way up the chain, from manufacturing to distributing to the technician on the site, so it's pretty interesting that you said that. All right. So let's get into this cool story I've been reading out like a soap opera that is NDL Industries. So from my research, what I have found is, I can't remember the year exactly. Let's see. I have it written down. So 1987 is when NDL opened its doors, right? A year before I was born. And can you tell me what was the vibe then? What was NDL doing upon opening its doors? Because that will help us to get into the great pivot.
Sure. Well, I can only comment on this from stories I heard because I was not alive back then. But yeah, look, it started as in Vancouver, Canada. So that was our HQ. That was where the doors opened. And it started as a consulting firm. So they were doing engineering consulting for the HVAC/refrigeration industry. And basically working as engineers, looking at a lot of specs and design build. There was, what they found at the time, the partners and the owners found, is there was an issue in the market, and there were a lot of issues with projects going on with leaks and problems, and there was always, nothing ever went as smoothly as it should. And in speaking with the piping system specifically, there were a lot of burst fittings, there were leaks, there was cracked joints, something that you kind of ran into recently. And so they kind of shifted their focus, and they saw that there was a need in the market for a true refrigeration fitting. So they went from consulting to manufacturing. And that's kind of how NDL evolved from this, engineering firm to the manufacturer that we are now. Fast forward to 2026, and that company that started with one location in Vancouver, Canada, is now a global company. We have our US operations out of South Haven, Mississippi, which is 5 minutes from the Memphis border there. And our European distribution and head office is basically just outside of London. So pretty cool story for sure.
And how crazy is it that Vancouver is like the origin story of you and your company? You and the company you ended up at. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's
so that was 1998, sure. I believe. So it was really only like a decade, right?
Yeah.
Essentially.
Quickly. Yeah, absolutely.
So from the engineering standpoint, I can see, and I actually said, so when I got into HVAC, I was also in school for mechanical engineering. And I always said, I'm only working through HVAC to get me through school. And then I'm going into mechanical engineering of systems. I wanted to go and work for, LG and fix their compressor problem, or, I wanted to do all this. And after, I was right before graduation, and I said to myself, I don't want to leave HVAC. And the whole time I was kind of like, when I'm in school, like anytime we talk about HVACR at any point, it's so disconnected, right? It's like so disconnected from the actual real life refrigeration to like refrigeration piping. And I was like, oh, this is embarrassing to say the least. So when I came out of school and I graduated, I was like, I'm staying in HVAC. I'm going to be the engineer that is on site, that does, understand those gaps and cracks. So I can completely understand where, as a company, they were coming from. If you engineer a design, right, and the materials don't add up to the quality of work you provided, it's never good for your reputation, even though it's nothing to do with what you did. As a company, I'm sure there were pain points and failure points where they were like, this has nothing to do with me, but now it's my problem, So that's understandable, but it's really awesome that as a company, they were able to do that. As an individual, it's very, very hard. So I can't imagine taking, this company and then not only doing it successfully, but then the growth, massive growth, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, you kind of hit the nail on the head. Like even on the engineering side, you could do all this, and then there could be a high-rise building and something goes wrong and everybody gets sued, even if it's something that you're not even involved with. So
it's always in theory, right?
Yes.
So I want to get into some of the stuff you make. So just let me know if I miss anything here, okay? So we have ACR fittings, which I love. I got a few of your press fittings from Lucas. Mm-hmm. They work amazingly with the press tool that I use for refrigeration, which I was skeptical about. I did not know. I didn't understand like V-style engineering of the fittings. I did not know that there were fittings that were outside of like the tool brand that would work that way. Like just kind of not universally. I wouldn't call it that, but I would say it works with most press tools, right? So
correct.
So, I mean, I was very surprised by that. And then I was also very surprised by the quality of the seal that I had on some fittings. Even if it's sealed and not leaking, you kind of have like anxiety about that one joint you just did, for like ever. I did not feel that way using these fittings. So you guys make ACR press. You make regular ACR fittings, right? I would assume, right? Braze.
ACR fitting was our brazed ones was kind of our bread and butter. It was our first product. So that was where we kind of became NDL, was the true ACR fitting. And now we have an HVAC fitting. because the ACR fitting is not for everybody. It's a heavy duty, it's a thick fitting, it's for true refrigeration, supermarket guys.
Yep.
So the HVAC side, we have an HVAC fitting. So it's kind of the industry standard that you see on the HVAC side when the ACR is not needed.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love it. And then you have black iron. Thank goodness. Actually have a video where I drove over a black iron nipple that I was sent, 18-inch, with my truck, and completely unaffected it was. So that's a good thing. If you can drive over it with a truck and nothing happens to it, doesn't even get a scuff on it, it's a good fitting, good nipple.
Yeah.
And then you make CO2 components. And I want to come back to that in a big way, but let's keep going for the need of our contractors. Hi, Danny. You have filter dryers, sight glasses, valves, pretty much like, okay, so let's do it this way because NDL is NDL. What don't you have? What don't you offer as a fitting that we may need? Is there anything?
A little bit. Our focus is HVAC and refrigeration. It's not so much on the plumbing side. So we leave the plumbing side for the guys that do true plumbing. So for us, I mean, we have anything from gas to refrigerant to some PVC. We've got DWV PVC as well, not only Schedule 40.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Kind of components, HVAC components and refrigeration components. The refrigeration side for us, like you mentioned, we'll touch on that on the CO2 side. It's very different. But on the HVAC side, components, anything but the tube, really,
That's insane. That for one company to not have like this, well, we do make this, but we don't make that, you know what I mean? And have that only be plumbing really for you guys, which is completely understandable. The plumbing fitting market is just over flooded for sure. It's impossible to choose plumbing fittings based on anything but they're in the distributor you're at. It's just crazy. So that's awesome. As far as, so we know, so I would assume not only was it just like a gap that we had, kind of crappy materials out there as far as engineering goes when you're an engineer and needing that to be rectified. That's why they kind of switched into the market of componentry, right? But I would assume it's also the change in refrigerants. Was that a factor in that? And if so, what, for those who may not know that are in this, chat, what is the reason? Why do we need to change fittings when it comes to a change in refrigerants like we had back in the 90s?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. And we're kind of seeing that again for like a really major time with the A2L stuff. So it's really on pressures. When you change refrigerants, the pressures change. At the time, our ACR fittings, for example, a lot of them are 1,000 PSI. They're rated at 1,000 PSI, which is very, very high. So that's for your refrigeration stuff, even on the low side of CO2 systems, which we're getting into on refrigeration now. But for the HVAC side, it's just keeping up with like R410 when we had R410, making sure that your fittings were rated for the pressures that the new refrigerant is coming into, and making sure that you also have the certifications and the ratings for safety, because you want to have a lot of the manufacturers, they go with a 3-time safety rating. At NDL, we do a 5-time safety rating. So you have just a little bit more peace of mind. And because of that, we offer like warranties and stuff that the market hasn't seen before. Like on our refrigeration fitting, we have a 10-year warranty that covers refrigerant loss and labor. Yeah, it's crazy to put that out there, but we still have a
warranty on a fitting.
Yeah,
like I guess my mind is going to the I would call it an epidemic of improper installation. So what happens in that situation if you guys have a fitting and it's like, what's the warranty process? Like, do you guys get the fitting back, or is it you just send them a new fitting, or how's that work?
There's a lot of different ways. It depends who it is and what's going on. I mean, obviously, if it's a really big issue, we'd love to take a look at it. We have our own factories and engineering staff on site that can do testing, kind of like you would with a compressor. If there's a compressor failure, they'll take it back, they'll cut it open. So we'll do reports on that. But again, it's pretty rare. And a lot of the time, It's probably due to overheating, to be
Yeah.
honest. Yeah.
Yeah, or like an installation issue, I would guess. Like I just see so much, and maybe it's different because it's fittings, but like as far as whole installs or as far as electrical components, most of the warranties that come back out of that stuff is improper. It's like improper use by the user, right? So, yeah, I was just curious about how that would be rectified, but I guess it just doesn't happen, and that's knowing that we have such a problem with improper installation, knowing it doesn't happen often in itself is really huge. So
It's good.
I guess the
We're very
fitting kind
happy.
of combats that. Yeah, that's great. Wow. Okay. So then now we can move into CO2 because now we understand that now there are difference in refrigerants. There's not just one size all refrigerants, and that is especially not true for refrigeration. Refrigeration is very, we have more more refrigerants that we use specifically, but also we have more uses for those refrigerants. So being a fitting company, for those of you who may have not thought of it, this is kind of what I found in my research, that people who have worked at NDL, in the building of NDL kind of side of it, they've written kind of in blog posts or in forums that it's more, the challenge was you've got to fill this very wide need you can't do that with one product. You've got to do it with many, 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 many products. And now you guys' choice to move into sustainable refrigerants, which is where we are or / should be moving as an industry, right? We kind of took a step back there in the HVAC world going with 454, PFAS forever chemical, but who am I? But in refrigeration, we're very much moving to 290. And for racks, we're looking at CO2, we're looking at Cascade. Like, this is kind of where we want to be, and to have a company that makes the products you guys make kind of move with us is really important to us. That's kind of the sale point that I've been using when talking about NDL on the CO2 side. Why would we, thinking sustainably, move to CO2? And why as a company, how as a company did you guys kind of make the decision or I guess see the future, right? Know that is where on a wide scale we would be moving as an industry in order to do something so wide as to start a whole line of it. Yeah. Where's that origin story at?
So it's pretty interesting because CO2 as a refrigerant for like food service, for example, supermarket refrigeration, it's great because it's a natural refrigerant. And the industry, it's gone through a lot of changes in the last couple of years with the A2L. And so people want something that's future-proof, set it and forget it. You don't have to worry about what's coming in the next year, 2 years, 3 years. And CO2 is actually a very good medium for refrigeration and also heat recovery as well. So it's not so much that we saw the future, our European division of our company.
There it is, the global aspect.
Yes. So they've been working on this for years now. I think I actually saw a post from Natural Refrigerants that there's like over 100,000 transcritical CO2 installations throughout Europe. Yeah. And Canada and the US just typically lag by a couple of years. So we wanted to kind of be first to market in that space for the refrigeration side. And it was an easy transition because, we made an ACR fitting and we made an HFC ball valve. And all we had to do was convert the design for CO2 ratings, which is, 140 bar or 2000 plus PSI that it is. So it wasn't a difficult transition. We didn't have a crystal ball. We saw that's what the market was doing in Europe. We kind of figured the US and Canada would follow, and they have, and it's been really, really cool to see. Our CO2 line has been growing insane. It's really just picked off like crazy. CO2 fittings, CO2 valves, even some CO2 tubing that we do. It's really cool to see. It's really natural. We're big into that. There's a lot of shows that we go to throughout the US, Canada, and Europe. So yeah, it's very cool to see. And I think the industry is just really getting started on the CO2 side and the natural refrigerants, even R290 as well.
It's crazy to me because people ask me a lot, especially new guys that are learning about refrigerants for the first time, going through their EPA or, and then we talk about natural refrigerants. They're like, wait, why didn't we just do this in the first place? And I'm like, just
yeah.
Money has nothing to do with it. Shut your mouth. But that really is it. It's we can call it learning, right? We can call it advanced civilization learning. But really what it is the lack of ability to cover things up anymore. Now that we as contractors, we as engineers or designers, we as customers even can hold an industry accountable to say, look, we know this is available. We know that it's natural for the environment. We know that it's incredibly present, not only in the atmosphere, but in our bodies, like in everything. Really, this should be the natural progression, right? And it's okay to say kind of, we were wrong before, but we're going to do things right this time. And I think that's kind of what's happening. And we have different, like the NASRC, we have different councils now that are really just, their whole dedication is to let's move this industry in the right direction. And then when companies like NDL make it easy for us, right? Make it easy for the contractor to say, not only, are we going to move there with you, but we have a European market. We understand this very deeply. And then other training programs come out. Brett Wetzel, Advanced Refrigeration Podcast, is a huge sponsor of he's actually my best friend too, but he's a huge sponsor of our show. And he, offers training to companies just like I do. And then he also does free training on the side and mentors and, kind of gets the guys who are in the thick of it up to speed and ready. And then those guys are training more guys behind them. This is a no-brainer for our industry. We have so many people coming together to make sure of it too. So I just want to personally thank NDL. The challenge we have as contractors is the location. So I have a company that I teach every week out of Rochester, New York. It's called Van Hook Services. And they have a lot of accounts with like Cheesecake Factory, top supermarkets, those kinds of things. And getting those customers to even like replace a valve that is bad is hard enough, let alone getting them to rip their whole rack out or use something they don't understand in new builds. So that's kind of like where the push has to go. We've got to really get the education out there so that not only do contractors know how to do it and understand the difference in fittings and valves and components, but also that the customers are kind of on board as well. It's very scary place for them to go from something they've used for 50 years to something completely new.
Yeah, absolutely. And product availability has always been a challenge. So, we saw that as a need. So, that's something that we kept in mind. Our products are readily available out of Memphis, I call it. And just the pressure ratings, when you see pressure ratings at those levels, it's just stuff that people aren't too used to. It's not 500, 600, 700 PSI anymore. It's 2,000 and could be scary.
Yeah, when you said 1,000, most ACR fittings that are press are only tested at 750. Right. So for you to even be doing that at 1,000 is huge.
Yeah, those are our ACR sweat ones, but I think industry standard even on those is 700, 770. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's just above and beyond. Like every answer you have for me is just like this above step, like with the safety, with the pressures, with moving to CO2. It's just NDL is clearly a forward-thinking company that is progressing even further than the industry. And I'm really glad when I see global companies kind of push the American market because that's the push they need. Like we as contractors can't push our market to go one way or the other. We just can't. We take what we're given, essentially. But large global companies like yours actually have a voice in this, in where we go. Even just offering them so people don't have that, they go into, these meetings with the EPA or with, whoever we're talking to about it today. And they say, well, another problem why we can't introduce this in the American market is that we don't have readily available fittings.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
We can have these giant, like you guys, global companies that say, excuse me. Yes, we do. So that's really great. All right. So what does zero failure since 1999 mean?
I think it's we're fortunate that, we put this warranty on paper. We took a chance. It's not only just replace the fitting, it's refrigerant loss and labor. It covers all of it. And we haven't had to use it because the fittings, we have a team at our factories that are just quality control 24/7. That's their job. And we want to put a good product out there. We want to be easy to do business with. And so we're proud of that we haven't had any issues.
Even companies that do offer warranties, though, they're not out here talking about it.
Right.
They're not like, zero failures since 1999. That's a scary thing to say publicly, and NDL just like says it, no problem. Like, we can handle this.
Yeah.
That shows so much how trustworthy your fittings really are, honestly.
Yeah, no, we
That's
appreciate
huge.
that. We're proud of it. It's super cool.
And across, I just want to like really drive this home though. That warranty means that even if you had a large scale failure, it would be taken care of by NDL. That in itself is not a failure. That's a hiccup, right? That we then fixed. So it's now no longer a failure. So even if a fitting were to fail, the company then comes to the rescue and makes sure it's not a failure for anybody else, right? That's huge. But on top of that, across such a wide amount of products, you guys make everything. So like just in my list, I've got copper fittings, ball valves, filter dryers, CO2 rated components designed for high pressure, high efficiency systems. We've got like valves. We've got, everything you could possibly imagine you guys offer. And as a company, you say no failure since 1999. That's massive.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
Massive.
Yeah.
Huge. Okay. So let's kind of go into a little bit of real world use right here. So we don't have a ton of supermarket guys in our coalition. That's more like our wider kind of spread. But the ones that we do are almost all mentors or teachers of some sort, as well as doing this every day for a living. That's what they do. So can we talk about, let's go through real world applications. So for a supermarket system, let's say we had a failure point in that supermarket system existing. Would it be applicable for the person on site to be able, or the company that's working on site, be able to order NDL fittings to fix an existing problem? And then also, what does that look like for a company? If they wanted to be able to buy NDL fittings and kind of be exclusive with your company, what would that look like if it is available for existing?
Yeah. So our go-to, like our market channels, it's two sides. So we have our OEM division, and then we have our distribution division. So we all work through distribution for the contractors. You buy through the distributors that you want to buy through. And then on the OEM side, we deal with the big OEMs in the US, in Canada, and in Europe. We have a lot of, I guess I'll say this, there's not too many people doing what we do on the HVAC/refrigeration side. On the plumbing side, yeah, there's a ton. But when you get into a little bit more like specialty niche stuff, there's not too many. And so we all kind of know each other. But at NDL, there's a lot of components that we do, even on our websites and on our literature. We have like cross references available as well from other manufacturers to NDL to make it very easy. There's probably more and more stuff that you're going to see out in the market from the OEMs that is NDL branded now. So if you're doing a replacement, it's pretty easy. You see the model number on there, you know what to order. But for the stuff that's not, it's all available. We make it very simple to cross. I would say a lot of our stuff is very compatible with different brands. If somebody's using a brand, they don't enjoy using it, or they're having lead time issues or quality issues.
Four fittings or four threads are missing off your fitting.
Yeah, that's crazy. Look, it's all available. NDL, we can cover a lot of that stuff on the black malleable side. Black malleables, black iron, 3/4, probably your 3/4, 1/2 inch. Those are the sizes you're using. So it's pretty standard. But as you get into like the refrigeration ball valves, the VRV, VRF ball valves, and some of the ACR fittings, a little bit different, but again, very, very simple to understand what you need and what you're replacing.
You guys make VRF ball valves too? I didn't even see that.
Yeah, so that
saved my life quite a bit.
Yeah. The VRF, VRV, and even so it's our NBV line, NDL ball valve. Okay. That was like kind of our second product after the ACR fitting. It's been a huge product for us, and that was the easy transition to CO2 because we already made it on the HFC side. So we could just switch it over to CO2.
That's amazing. So even VRF, like I had completely left that whole market out, and you're just like, oh no, here we are. Hello. Yeah. I love it. Okay, so NDL emphasizes higher quality manufacturing versus cheaper imported alternatives that are missing a bunch of threads and squish when you try to run them over with a truck. What are some of the certifications that you guys make sure are on your fittings? Like who is the third party that decides that?
It's all third parties. So because we're in so many different markets, we basically have to get certifications from
Yep.
everybody. So CRN in Canada,
Yep.
that's done. We have UL for the US, CE for the European division. So we've got the full umbrella on the products. Everything's got to be certified by
There's so
everybody.
many third parties.
Yes.
So you
Yes.
guys could not fake it until you make it if you tried, is what you're saying.
I don't think so. I think if there's too much at risk there, I think it's going to be a little difficult. So no, we have all those certifications. It's a process. I mean, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, I
It's
can't
not
imagine.
easy to get everything. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of paperwork. Lucas, our product manager, he's been instrumental in that. I mean, he's 24/7 certifications and paperwork.
Wow.
So he's done a very, very good job. So yeah, we're very thankful.
Crazy. It's crazy to have. We have a lot of manufacturers, especially just of anything really, that will come on here, and it's not even usually, it's just kind of like training, right? Like they come on here and they say like these things, but then when you ask them questions like that, the backup is like, I don't know, or like, we don't have third party. So the trust is really like the big thing that I wanted to show by putting you on the show. When, like I said, when Lucas reached out to me and I was kind of looking into you guys, I was just like immediately in love. I was like, this is a company that like I'm trying to trip myself up in my research to find something negative and I can't. And then you look at people talking about the fittings that are just, like you and me, they're just out here, using them. And they're like, you see a picture online and it's like, this is the inside of a regular, malleable fitting after 5 years. And this is the inside of an NDL after 5 years. And it's just night and day. It's like the proof is completely in the pudding, no matter which angle you try to throw it at. It's so great. I love this. Let's talk about the future here, because you guys have kind of brought the future to the present, which I love. You guys have a whole lot to do in the CO2 market moving forward in America and Canada specifically. But what about so you guys are a global distributor, like you distribute your products globally. So maintaining kind of like an edge in the market, what is it like trying to balance between like the Stone Age over here that we're at, and then Europe and Asia, and we're, all the different parts of the globe that have such different and wide markets? What's it like maintaining a balance as far as like quality goes, but then also like, we want you to buy our stuff? How does that work?
Yeah, it's not easy. I think the quality part was, our president from day one, it was quality is top. So nothing will ever change on the quality side, no matter how much we grow, how much we scale. Quality and customer service were kind of the two things that he wanted to keep from day one. And that's kind of something that we stand behind. The different markets is challenging.
I can imagine.
Everybody does something different. Everybody, the US may be ahead of Canada on something and then lag Canada on something else. Europe's a different market. They're using CO2 for like light commercial heat pumps, and maybe we're not seeing that here yet. So finding the products to sell and to keep, it takes a little bit of thinking to do, but we decided like, hey, look, we do refrigeration HVAC very well. And so let's focus on refrigeration HVAC, and let's not try and expand our product line too much beyond that, and let whoever focuses on this very specialty niche stuff deal with that. So for us, it hasn't been like too difficult. Our product line is, I don't know, I want to say maybe 20 products or so.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It's not unmanageable, but we have people in place. It's a lot, but we have people in place that our team is fantastic. Like when it comes from our warehouse management to our sales team, our product managers, our engineers, everybody, our customer service team, they all play a part in that. So
that's really just a team going out and saying, this is what, kind of this market needs from us, and this is what this market needs from us. And regardless of what they need or what we're making, we just need to make sure that the quality is unmatched. That way there's nobody that comes out and really beats us, right, so to speak.
Yeah, but it's also the markets kind of find ways to streamline. Like I've seen personally in the US, more and more people are just keeping a bi-flow filter dryer on their truck. They don't want to get stuck on a job with a single flow. They just want to have a bi-flow on it. So, okay, maybe you can narrow down your product lines from 1,000 different filter dryers to 500. So it makes it a bit easier for us as well, but yeah.
Wow, that's really, I hadn't thought about it from that kind of perspective. That's really interesting too. It's crazy how like what we do, out on the job one day, like affects this global like conglomerate up at the top, as far as like their choices that they make and kind of like what they're going to do in the future. That's really awesome. Okay. So, which one should I go to? As far as turnaround, how important is the speed part of it when it comes to supply chain, when it comes to like, if the supply chain itself is having problems, does that affect NDL with their customers or NDL with their distributors or OEMs? Like, is there a huge effect of speed on the import export, or is it more just like, the supply chain problems don't really affect us?
I think the supply chain problems affect everybody, mainly due to the freight side of things, transport. So we have our own manufacturing facilities with NDL employees there, so we can kind of have a little bit of a tighter control on things like that than maybe some other manufacturers who are outsourcing their manufacturing to
really reliant
factories.
on outsourcing. Yeah.
Right. But we have, and again, it kind of goes back to the team, like our supply chain manager and our demand planner, and
you guys have
do a very good
everybody. You
job.
thought of everything.
Yeah, look, it's a tough job because not only NDL, I think I'm speak to all the manufacturers. If there's a change, like you are 3, 4, 5, 6 months down the line before manufacturing really happens and the bringing in of the inventory to scale to what you need to be into the market, things move very slow. So you have to be 6 months ahead when you're kind of making decisions, unless you really want things to screw up. But thankfully, our fill ratio across all SKUs is 95% plus. We ship next day. We're very proud of that. So
if I were to have, say, like a supermarket, new construction, right? Like new construction rack systems, and I were to make an order through my distributor for NDL products, it was like a big order, a freight order. How soon could I expect to maybe see that? And you can give me a range. I don't need like it's going to be 3 days, but like,
no, I think if you're shipping it to Maine, probably 5 days.
That's if the truck can get in your driveway.
Yeah, no, things move quick. Everybody, it's our
but 5 days is kind of on the slow end.
Yeah, that's basically, so our warehouse, it'll come out of anything that ships into the US ships out of Memphis. We're 5 minutes from airport there, so
insane. I'm waiting longer than that for heat pumps. I'm waiting longer for that for an RTU by months.
Yeah, no,
wow.
Ours very, very quick. Yeah.
That's incredible. Actually, line set, I was trying out some new line set that's new to the market, and they had reached out to me. We signed contract, this whole thing, and I'm like, okay, so I believe that was January, and just the other day, I'm like, wait a minute, I was supposed to have line set coming here at some point. And they were like, yeah, we're waiting. It'll be there eventually. And I'm like, wow, this is like, that's a crazy. Imagine if that had happened and I was on a job needing that, that product. So this is really good to hear. I really love hearing that.
Though, especially on refrigeration, there is a lot of issues with other manufacturers with lead times and supply chain shortages. That's really where we excel, and we've been able to save, I think, a lot of people's lives by having product readily available in the US, in Canada, and in Europe.
Oh, for sure. And to be equally kind of as compatible with each market is really awesome. Usually, you have a European company and they're like, oh, I'll get it to you in 4 to 6 weeks, right? We can't be having that around here.
Yes.
Okay. So another thing that I wanted to definitely kind of get into is the innovation itself. So like NDL is not a company that kind of like, yes, you said yourself, like we are really good at this. So this is what we're going to stick to. But that does not mean you stop innovating within that niche space. So what can we expect kind of from emerging technologies that NDL is kind of looking at, even if it's not like a definite, we're going to move into that space? What kinds of things, as far as, HVAC and refrigeration go, and emerging technologies is NDL looking at and kind of paying attention to?
Yeah, I think our goal is to launch new products for the markets that we're good at, like you mentioned. So
Yeah.
we're not done innovating. We have a lot of stuff in the pipeline right now. I think the goal for HVAC and refrigeration is just kind of working on the sustainability, the green side
CO2,
of
right?
things. CO2, that's a big one for sure.
Yeah.
But CO2 is a little bit more focused on the food service, the OEM. It's kind of going to trickle
Here.
into
Yeah.
distribution shortly. But even on the HVAC side, like the true products that are stocked at your everyday distributor, we want to innovate on that as well. So there's definitely cool things. I think we've
Like
announced
VRF ball valves.
VRF ball valves. I mean, we've had those for 20 plus years. So
If
that's
you
not a
do
new
a
thing for us.
VRF and you don't put ball valves, like, don't talk to me. Flat out, don't talk to me. I don't want to come up on that in 3 years. By
Well, if
any
you're
means.
the installer, it's not so bad. If you're going in to do
Yeah,
service, it's really
exactly.
bad.
Exactly. Please do not leave that part out, installers.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so this is a really kind of, I try to ask a question to throw people off, kind of
Okay.
a couple of questions maybe. This one is a very professional one that I think maybe you're one of the very few people that can handle this question and answering it in a way that we'll understand. If you were starting at NDL today, what would you do differently? You personally,
What would
than
I
when you came
do
into
differently?
NDL when you did?
That's a good question. I was not expecting that, to be honest. I thought we were going to talk about specs or something. What would I do different? I think what I would do different is I would just narrow my focus a little bit more. It's really easy to go out there as a company, and obviously you want to make your budget every year and you want to sell everything to everybody. It doesn't work. It's a small, tight-knit industry. I think you really need to listen to your partners, whether that's your distribution partners or OEM partners, of what they really need, and just focus on that. And I think business will grow kind of, as long as you do that right and you do a good job, the business will kind of follow through. So I think that's something I would do, is just narrow my focus a little bit more.
So
Truly
I
help
had a
them
really big
on.
feeling you were going to say something like that.
Really?
And that's what I meant by I wanted to. It was a question whether I would even ask you that question or not. But I think what your answer shows is the wider kind of motto of NDL, which is very much the same. It's kind of narrow your focus and understand that the industry is going to move how it wants to move regardless, but have those preventions in place so that, like, your quality, for one, quality you can't take that from a company. And you can't diminish that from a company, right?
Yeah.
So as a human being, as an individual, you also want to have those things in place. So, like, at the very least, even if we were to take 6 months to get somebody their fittings would still be high quality. Like, having those things in place and narrowing your focus to, like, nothing else matters as long as the quality's there. Nothing else matters as long as we have teams in place for processes, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, I had a feeling you were very much an individual that had kind of that same forefront thought. That's a great answer. I love that, because some people answer it very arrogantly, and others answer it very humbly, like you did.
Yeah, it's all about just being easy, a dynamic company, not rigid. Being a little bit malleable, no pun intended there, is
right.
Is the way to go. Yeah.
Okay, so the other one then is I worded it, are there emerging technologies that you think could disrupt the HVACR components market entirely? But I think you kind of already led a little bit to that, to what Europe is doing, whereas they're using CO2 in like commercial and heat pumps. Do you think, just by your knowledge of the industry and the way that the industry kind of moves after your experience in it for so long, do you think that that's something that we could maybe get here in America?
I think absolutely. I think there's like big names out there like Daikin. They're really big on that side of things. They're pushing that in the Europe and the Asia markets. I absolutely see it coming to the US and to Canada. It's going to be very interesting. I think R290 absolutely has its place. R290 for us, I'm only speaking on our company personally.
Yep.
I mean, really, you can use our HVAC fitting for R290. It's the same. The pressure ratings are all, there's no compatibility issues. The pressure ratings fall in line with the certifications.
Yep.
No big change there. But I really do think with like the legislative stuff that's going on and being future proof and being green, I think CO2 is really, it's going to be the
That
main
makes me
player.
really happy.
Yeah.
I believe that you have reason to believe that. And so that gives me reason to believe that. And I really hope it happens. I really hope that it's a slap in the face kind of to see Europe's been 32 for very, very long in the HVAC space, right? Already. And then anything above that has always been sustainable. It's always been natural refrigerants. To see the US take such a giant, and Canada as well, right? So to see the US take such a giant step back with introducing 454 to the market has just been kind of demoralizing when it comes to my own industry. And everybody feels the same way. All contractors feel the same way. So having hope that maybe we will kind of get this right eventually, and we'll stop having all these, we have the AIM Act, we have like the Clean Air Act, and we have like every time we do it a little bit better. And then this just giant like roll backwards. So it makes me feel a lot better knowing you think we may see a day where, sustainable and natural refrigerants are in everyday units, not just supermarkets. So
I absolutely do. And I don't want to speak on the refrigerant side too much because that's not my space. We just need to make sure that our products are compatible. But I heard, there was with the A2L changes, it made a lot of people's lives a little bit difficult, obviously.
And scary for progression in the market as a whole, just scary for progression. So I guess the last kind of real question that I have for you is NDL has made it through both the recession of 2008 and COVID. I'm sure lots of other things in between there. How you were there during COVID, so you can kind of speak to your own experience or just whatever the official answer is. What kinds of things helped you guys to survive a global pandemic when you're a global company? And kind of what are there things you learned from that you now implement as a whole all the time?
COVID was tough. COVID was very challenging for everybody. Anybody that says they didn't go through some sort of challenges in COVID, probably not telling the full truth.
Yeah, agreed.
I think we got very fortunate and we caught the logistical side and the complications that were going to come during COVID very early on. And I mean, it's public knowledge, NDL, we suffered just like everybody with extended lead times on ocean freight, for example. But what we did is we spent a lot of money on air freight. So our customers still had, product on their shelves so they could serve their customers, and they're not going to look like they don't have anything on their shelves, and their contractors are going to be frustrated with them.
That was a huge conversation in the industry at the time, was whether large manufacturers should spend that money on air freight. So hearing you guys
we made that decision to do it. I think it benefited us because, again, we caught it very early on. We put the financial commitment behind it. We spent a ton of money on air freight. And we grew from then. A lot of people were having layoffs, and it was unfortunate.
Yeah.
And we managed to continue growing and adding our team members that are still with us today from those points on. So it's really cool.
Crazy. It's crazy to hear your answer to that, really, because it is obviously a challenge and it was a struggle, but it really sounds like some people come on here and they say, man, I have trauma. Don't even bring up that time, in our lives. It sounds to me like, once again, and this is the theme of this show today, there are processes in place. There are decisions that are made for the good of the customer that maybe in the immediate moment aren't the best choice for NDL, but then we put more processes in place to make sure that it was the correct choice to make. You guys don't leave a lot to chance. And I think that is really what this episode speaks of. You as a person don't want to leave much to chance. That answer to that question very clearly shows that. And I think that anybody can learn and grow from having processes in place that take care of things that pop up. Really, the industry is just one giant merry-go-round that might lose a horse here and there. We have no way of predicting it, right?
Yes.
When you said, though, that NDL caught the issues early, as far as the COVID pandemic goes, Many companies did not. That was really where the fault point was that they thought this thing's going to go away in a couple weeks. This is, minor news. This is not something and then boom, here we are. And this is lasting years,
Yeah.
So I think that was a great decision on the part of NDL to take that seriously in the beginning.
I won't say that we aren't thankful that it's behind us now, because obviously logistically very difficult, but yes, I think
nobody wants that.
No. Exactly.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Is there, anything that you want to plug here? Is there anything that you want people to know about NDL? And then, either yes or no. And then after that, where would you send people to learn more about NDL as far as the internet goes?
I think I'd like to just add that we're just a very easy company to do business with. A lot of people, surprisingly or not surprisingly, actually, still haven't heard of us before.
Yes.
So I think just have a look at our website, see what we're about. We have our whole team listed on our website, so you can see the different faces behind NDL. I think that's really cool, just the visibility. Yeah. You're dealing with people, not so much just a kind of a company, but
one-on-one in a way.
Yeah, one-on-one. Go look at our website. We're hiring. We just actually brought on an engineer. She came over to us from Hussman. So
wow.
She's going to be, like an engineer based in Georgia that's there for anything technical, anything refrigeration. We're just trying to be that company that you can go to for products and assistance as well. We're not just going to try and push all these products down your throat. It's, hey, here's how we can help you, and here's the support that comes afterwards as well.
I love it. I love it. I would also like to point them to the booth interview that we did at AHR Expo. It's on our YouTube channel. I have another video on there already, and then we have 2 more coming out after this episode. We'll have one coming out this week, one coming out next week. One of them is about the black iron fittings. Another one is about kind of their whole product catalog. I grabbed some of your catalogs from the AHR show and went through and made some clips of those just to show you really just there's like, if you need something, they have it. It's there. So kind of I made one going through that and talking about kind of, what the difference is between NDL and other places when you try to order something like that. I would also say this, if you're not sure, let you answer that, Amit. Mm-hmm. If they're not sure where they can get NDL products, do you have any advice for that?
Yeah, we do. We have a lot of sales agencies that we partner with across the U.S. All that stuff is public on our website. So you can just go on the map, click on your state, and you'll have our contact info, their contact info, technical contact. The whole thing's there for you.
So easy. You guys have struggled with some of my companies before, not wanting to release like their distribution list or their map, which is super weird to me. But thank you for that, because that makes it so much easier on me as well when people do see our videos and say, hey, where can I get this? So awesome. Go to the website, you guys. Just check it out. Watch that booth interview. Amit was there with me, and we went through some of their products. And we even looked at the CO2 line a little bit. And it's just a big push in the industry right now coming. Sorry. NDL. So thank you, Amit, for being here. If anybody has any questions, Amit is on LinkedIn. And then you can also probably have a contact us on the website, I would assume, Amit.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Bye.
Bye-bye.